Like, every time.
North America may not be so good at winning internationals, but they do have some banger lines.
Oh, they definitely do.
Oh, you know what's another one?
What's another one?
You know the one from Dardock, just pick me whatever and let me lose in peace. That one.
And that one's just recently come back because he came back.
That one is such a banger, such an all-timer.
That's why you got to make sure that you subscribe to Jad on YouTube, because he does all of his like YouTube shorts and stuff like that. He reminded me of that quote very recently as well. That was fantastic. Oh my lord. Let me lose in peace. Well, we'll see whether anyone is going to be losing in peace or whether they're going to be losing in pieces if they get clobbered. We do have a draft here. We've got a Bard being taken away as well as a Lucian, and the Cassiopeia is illegal, not allowed to be played.
So I was talking a bit about how Jarvan and Ryze been pretty high priority as first picks. I feel like the Bard is pretty good into the Jarvan as kind of mitigating the engage, so maybe that's what HANJIN BRION are setting up for GIDEON in this one. We'll see what the rest of the bans are, though. Obviously, last time they did ban Nocturne and Ezreal, and they're going to actually ban the Jarvan themselves. So,
all right,
taking that one away, Orianna, Nocturne, Ezreal are three of the picks that were banned last time that are currently on the card. So we'll see what gets left open here and what gets taken away.
Yeah, this is a little bit dicey now. I assume it's just Orianna, but instead the Nocturne will be the ban. So Orianna gets through, and a possible lock angle for VicLa maybe. Be a bit of fun.
It's either the Orianna or the Ezreal, and I imagine Roma will go for the Ezreal, but Teddy, he's often the main character for this team.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Orianna situation is just often one that our teams cannot resist.
Something that's taken in mind is that when we think of the Ezreal pairings, two of the really good ones have been Bard and Karma, and they are off the card, so does lower that a little bit, but still a pretty solid pick. Right now, though, BNK FEARX looking at the potential of a Rumble for clear. Honestly, I feel like Rumble is just like, Olaf's the thing, I don't care. I'm just bringing back the classics.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And Clear is very, very good at the Rumble as well. Instead, Naafiri going to be the consideration, wanting to deny another one of these ball carriers that the Orianna does like. I can understand that one as far as that mindset is concerned. But we'll see what Raptor is going to be taking away, whether that Rumble will be committed to, or whether it is maybe some sort of answer to this Orianna. Could be an Akali. I don't necessarily really like the Akali-Naafiri combo, but this is definitely a little bit better setup for getting some damage out of your jungler.
I think the Akali's been good. VicLa did have some good Akali performances early this year, but I think committing to it so early is a bit of a risk here. So I think the Galio makes a lot of sense. For HANJIN BRION, though, are you going to go for the jungle here? Are you going to try and secure that Ezreal that got left open? Those are kind of the decisions you're weighing up right now.
Well, GIDEON thinking about it for the moment. Looks like a Trundle
instead. And I feel like Trundle's Naafiri, you're quite tanky, right? But you can kind of just flip over the pillars.
Yeah, you also have range damage as well with your daggers to be thrown out. Trundle is often one that really wants to get up close and personal and start whacking you with his big bat. And the Naafiri can be a little bit frustrating there with the untargetability and the mobility. The Jayce is going to be picked alongside it.
I mean, one thing Trundle does really well is keeping teams at a distance and playing at range. And when you're committing to this Jayce with it, this kind of feels like the game plan for HANJIN BRION. They know with like a Naafiri, Galio, BNK are going to be trying to dive in, and they're just going to try and keep them at a healthy distance and play around their long range.
Well, so far so good. See whether this is going to be a clear pick into the Jayce. The Cassante has been the most popular option into it, and so now actually both of the most popular ones have been taken away. But the Camille will be picked up. Still technically a flex, but man, Camille Galio and a flexible Camille, so you're not really locked into this. This feels pretty good to be a BNK FEARX fan.
It's such a good pick here, I think, because it makes that engage so much more convincing. And when I just said HANJIN BRION trying to play safe at a distance, this is going to make that really difficult. Camille can also jump off the Trundle pillar, which is a fun interaction when we get to those skirmishes. Now, here, I think if they were to play something longer range, things like Ziggs, Caitlyn, Ezreal are all picks I could imagine HANJIN BRION leaning towards. I'll take away the Caitlyn for now. And for HANJIN BRION, you're left in a bit of an awkward position because if you ban too many AD carries, you're shortening your own pool.
Yeah.
And BNK FEARX have that flex available to keep things, well, flexible.
Haha!
The Lulu comes out, denying the prospect of like a Yunara Lulu, which could be a thing.
I think Teddy wants to play Ziggs. That's what it feels like to me. I imagine they'll go like a Zig Shen or something of that ilk. That's sort of where my mind's at. Don't necessarily like it. I feel like Ziggs hasn't been finding as much success on the most recent patch.
We've seen a lot of the Jayce Ziggs. I kind of like the Kalista ban coming out because if you are diving in, that Kalista and the hostile takeover is super high value. And as well, BNK FEARX are going to be able to pick first here. So if you're concerned about something like an Ezreal, you can just deny it yourselves. And Ezreal can work quite well with this. Especially when the Hextech ultimatum comes down, it kind of lines things up for you to fire your ult across.
And we have seen Ezreal Camille be quite popular, so it holds on to that flex.
Yeah, definitely going to be... Well, I was going to say definitely going to be AD carry here to keep the flex open, but they're just like, you know what, we're going to show it. We want to go for the Rakan here. We want Xayah Rakan. Probably, but even if they don't get the Xayah, the Rakan with all this dive is going to be so difficult to survive to. I think...
Oh no, don't do this. Because now, Rakan Kai'Sa feels so good for BNK FEARX.
Yeah.
Taeyoon has been popping off on that champion. Teddy, don't take the bait, sir. It's not worth it. You're a great... Just pick it away, maybe. Could do that. Or they're considering, they're thinking, but it looks like they are going to deny it. Oh no.
So, splitting up the Xayah Rakan here, and putting... I think, honestly, the value of the ultimate is quite high in this composition, but I think, as you said, Taeyoon in a great position to pick up the likes of Kai'Sa. Here, Ezreal would also work pretty well. And it's going to be Alistar here for Namgung, so really playing into that defensive play with this composition. And BNK FEARX have a very one-track goal with their team comp.
Yeah. I'm pretty worried for the bros after seeing this. Let's see what Taeyoon wants to do. I expect Ezreal would work, but I think Kai'Sa would have also been fine. They had a lot of options. Going to go play it safe here with the Ezreal able to skirt the sidelines of the battlefield. And this was the first champion that Taeyoon really found a lot of success on as well here in the LCK. Also popping off on it over in the LPL before he did make his way back home. So an understandable pickup here. And the Ezreal Rakan will be that bottom lane.
I think BNK FEARX pretty happy with how the draft came through here. One thing I will say, though, is that solo lane's going to be likely shoved in a decent amount in the AD game. So if HANJIN BRION can get a bit of an AD advantage, that can make a lot of a difference. But I think team fights, there's just so much ability to shut down key targets with this composition. Camille Galio, for so long, has been such a big threat. It's rare we actually get to see it anymore because teams are so aware of the possibility of the prospect of it coming through. And I think finding this angle here, giving themselves so much agency in this game, because I think that's something that in that previous game, they had a ton of agency in their composition. And I feel like for the side of Bro, you know, it was kind of just run at them and have Olaf be in melee range, which is effective, but not as much as like Annie, Nico. And in this game, it's Camille Galio, both of which are just very strong at setting up plays.
Yeah. There are some key picks, though, here for the bros. They do have the Orianna. Let's see how they play around Roma this time around as we get onto the Rift for Game 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, already with Raptor taking a bit of damage from GIDEON. Just has a bit of a chomp before he moves back towards his lane. No deep vision allowed here for BNK FEARX, and we'll see whether the bros can play around that as immediately GIDEON moves towards his blue side. And the pings are out on the enemy red buff, which is kind of cute. Okay, just a slow start. Roma taking some winds of war. And we don't expect the Galio to win, but we also don't really expect VicLa to be under too much threat of a death or anything like that in this early game.
It gets to that point where you tank enough and you have enough wave clear. Now, the interesting thing is a top lane matchup, because the changes to Camille, so they made her shield half as strong in the early game, but she has lower cooldown on things like her W, and basically incentivizing more frequent trading. And the thing is, if you're into like a melee matchup, it might feel a bit awkward at times that you have this smaller shield and they can just run at you and will you down. But when you're playing into a Jayce, the expectation is you're going to be harassed a lot, traded on a lot, and having that lower W cooldown really makes a big difference.
You can see already it's actually helping out as Clear even out in these trades so far. Hasn't been farming as much.
Also shorter cooldown on the shield as well, even though it's smaller, to kind of compensate. So I think it's going to be a bit harder this patch than previous patch, forecasting to really find a big edge here. And we know how well Camille can scale. She actually scales even better now with the changes, which is crazy to say. So just a very scary champion to be up against.
Well, right now, Teddy and Namgung doing their very best to survive here in this lane. Alistar level 1 needs no introduction. It's just not that good. And so they are going to get shoved in for a wave or two. Kellin going to be very comfortable on this Rakan, just hitting a cow over and over with Gleaming Quills. And I think him and Taeyoon should be very healthy here in this lane. See how Teddy can actually play this one out. As when they do go for dives and things like that, I feel like the value of the Xayah will be quite high. And then they can play around casting in his poke and things like that. Not going to be contributing to the poke, but might be able to find a bit of an angle. As GIDEON going to throw down a kennel, gets the flash out of Clear.
Yeah, hookshot wasn't available. I mean, a Trundle ganking a Camille so often just isn't a thing unless specifically that cooldown isn't there. So great timing from GIDEON. Does lose out on the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah. Might be able to just grab this bottom side one. They do have some mid lane control. So GIDEON should get the inside track and wander on over there. But it looks like both junglers literally just pass by their mid laners. Namgung's making his way up though, and Raptor's going to have to get over this wall. Taunt doesn't do anything at all. The interruption on the Justice Punch, but the Grand Entrance is fantastic, and Taeyoon is going to get here first. VicLa able to make his way out, but it looks like the bros might be able to escape as well, but they lose priority on this Rift Scuttler, and that should be double Scuttle over to Raptor.
The pressure in bot lane and Taeyoon being there as a result was a difference maker, because honestly, BNK FEARX missed some key abilities, and that could have been super costly. And now, speaking of costly...
Yeah, GIDEON is going to get knocked up and destroyed. Looked a little bit weird on our spectator cam, but he went up into the sky and didn't come back. That's basically what happened.
Just a great read from Raptor here to cut GIDEON off as he's heading towards his Grom, pair up with Kellin, and really punish this Trundle. Not a fun matchup to be playing this Trundle into Naafiri specifically.
Yeah, and they opted in for it, right? Like, this was a decision made by the bros.
I mean, so often
this could be working out.
We've seen Trundle into auto attackers like Xayah, who have to be in melee range to get the value, or into tanks. And Naafiri is neither of those things. And
no.
The fact that you can also easily circumvent the pillar just makes it so difficult. Good knock away there from casting. Being able to build up a bit of a lead, that gank definitely helping him out.
Yeah, there is a lot of minions here, though, so Clear should be able to somewhat even things. Should be only about 5 the difference after these ones are taken down. Shock Blast, though, might be able to cause at least one of the casters to go amiss, and there it goes. So, casting having a much better game, and I feel like casting was such a success story for the bros over the last few weeks, and that last game was pretty off-theme for him. I feel like his Olaf was uncharacteristically just weak, I would say.
Yeah, we've seen Olaf kind of run the LCK recently, and it really did not get the value last game. Casting not having his best performance, which is uncharacteristic because he has been really solid in the top lane for HANJIN BRION so far in the LCK. So now an opportunity in the Jayce, which is obviously a high variance carry. Oh, VicLa.
Yeah, might be in a little bit of trouble here as the taunt does come down, but...
Oh, nice buffer.
There is a Shockwave. Justice Punch is going to be buffered like you were saying. And now Hextech Ultimatum comes in, but Casting looking to turn it, grabs the solo. Raptor should be able to get revenge, but a 1-for-1 isn't really what BNK FEARX were looking for.
Yeah, a bit of an overcommit there from Clear, and I think you could have just played it a bit slower there and not risked your own life to try and set up the play. They still get the kill at least. Raptor's going to be very strong, but did feel like a step too far.
Yeah.
Now GIDEON Roma setting a trap for Raptor, but a hard target to catch out.
Exactly. They do get a lot of damage before he comes on through, as the heroic entrance will bring VicLa in with full health. as he just came back from base, and Raptor is still going to be able to take a third scuttler.
Yeah, I think maybe if you're able to shockwave him out the fog of war, that would have been the difference maker. But without that tool available, Raptor just flips over the wall, able to disengage from the play.
Yeah, I think they were expecting the pillar to mean that the front flip wasn't actually going to get all the way over the wall.
I mean,
but it worked.
That front flip is so generous, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's abilities that are like, you have to get it really precise, like the Aatrox dash.
Yep.
There's a lot of walls you can't go over, and the ones you can, you have to kind of be right up against it. But
or like a Riven Q.
Yeah, but with the flip from the Naafiri, you have so much wiggle room.
We did see that on display. Let's see whether we see it again. We're going to check out this kill from Casting first.
The big thing is he takes that initial shock blast, and then he goes just a bit too soon before Raptor's in range. I think this could have been played slower, and if he didn't take that extra poke, I think this should have been just a 1-for-0 for BNK FEARX, but good play from Casting to make sure it wasn't the case.
Yep. The Bros keep it within 1,000 gold, but it is only barely at that point. VicLa now getting a shove in as well. Roma will be coming back with a lost chapter in hand. 30 gold ahead isn't really much of anything at all, but man, this game is all about Raptor. Raptor going to take some Raptors as well. And GIDEON just really unable to find too much here on the map. 14 seconds until his coveted grubs are up and available, that he's got an entire top side of his jungle to get through. I think before he wants to go for that, and there's the Cycler Sword.
Man, this Naafiri is going to be so strong. And Naafiri is one of those champions where when she gets ahead, it's so painful, because especially with a composition like this with so much follow-up, you just ult in a target and you can't miss. Now, they are going for a play here onto Clear. Clear's ultimate just came up, does have flash, and it looks like they decide to move in a different direction.
Namgung gets a nice little headbutt over the wall. Casting's going to be moving on down here as Clear is stuck on his turret right now. Has to give up some farm if he does want to make this one happen. GIDEON takes the first grub. Now has to wait for that next charge of the smite to come back up, and that's going to be there very, very soon. There's one of them here for Raptor. Who's going to grab the two? That is the question.
Two-shot barrage coming in.
Yeah, two-shot barrage onto two. That's a lot of damage. That is two of the grubs taken by the Bros. GIDEON going to be happy with that.
I honestly think BNK FEARX, there was an angle to fight there. Maybe not having the ultimate for Kellin was kind of what stopped them from going in, but they have the setup. The two-shot barrage coming in was big, and the power spike for Raptor as well. But they decide they don't need to try and make a play there. It's not necessary. It's not required. And they let HANJIN BRION pick up two of those grubs. I mean, they are GIDEON's after all.
Yeah. They were able to claim their rightful property here in this game, as that's kind of tragic and frustrating. But good guy VicLa does not decide to punch it. And Raptor is able to grab that crab. So, as it all stands, 800 gold is the advantage here for BNK FEARX, but the Bros do have the grubs for the remainder of the game, or at least the advantage in the grubs. Not all three of them this time, as Roma is trying to get damage onto VicLa, but it's a real struggle when he has that Spectre's Cowl completed. And in goes Casting once again. Who is trapped in where with who is the question, as Clear is going to bounce on forward. VicLa comes down from the sky, and Raptors showed up, and I don't know whether the Bros really want to fight this when there is that Naafiri here, but however, they are still going to go for it. Taunt does come down onto Namgung, and GIDEON just trying to lay that bat down onto this gargoyle. Raptor now trying to bounce away as Roma and Kellin are fighting one another, and they just cannot close the gap onto this Naafiri, who looks to try and turn it. There's the ulti. Trample comes in. Good pulverize from Namgung, as he does flash himself out of the way, and now Casting looking to turn it. Doesn't have a lot of mana though, and now Roma is going to come on through. Does he have the big shockwave as Kellin comes forward? Another true shot barrage is fantastic, and Casting is going to be wiped off the rift. There is the blast cone for the disengaged Valdez, and the Bros are going to get out of there.
Such a tense back and forth there, but BNK FEARX able to find the edge. Raptor with this completed first item just doing so much damage on repeat. And it was just a constant sort of game of back in, back out. We get the recall and the TP from the Galio, which makes a big difference. It's a good headbutt from Namgung to stop the dash from the Naafiri from connecting. But ultimately, Casting pretty low on mana, and Bro really don't want this fight when they go in for it. We get the turn up here, the shockwave only catches the taunting Galio, so it doesn't do much damage. And I think, honestly, Bro can be happy that at least they didn't lose more members with how low the health bars were there.
Yeah, really did feel like it was going to be worse than that, as Namgung with a bit of a hex splash over the wall. Taeyoon and Teddy have been pretty absent from a lot of this early game. I think Teddy probably pretty happy about it. The Xayah does want to aim for around 3 items before you're really happy. Essence Reaver, and the Flicker Blades probably going to be the first 2 items before the Infinity Edge is finally completed. As Roma is just being annoying. VicLa seems to not care about it whatsoever. I feel like this is VicLa's, and this is going to be dangerous to say, but it's VicLa's wheelhouse.
Oh, wow.
That's what I really feel.
And you know what?
It's
I feel happy
utility.
that we really know what is meant by the term wheelhouse now.
Honestly, I really wasn't paying that much attention. So you'll have to probably tell me once again. As Namgung taking a lot of damage. Raptor is going to flip out of there, though.
I mean, that was a really awkward spot. A great pillar from GIDEON trapping in there. But again, you saw how far away he was from the wall he got over. Just enough distance on that flip to get out. Now, we actually did see BNK FEARX pick up double Triforce there for Taeyoon and Clear.
Yeah.
Scary. But it was actually a TP to the top side. So Casting could TP bot here, and he's going to.
Yeah.
BNK FEARX, I think you have to respect this. You might go for a smite steal, but you cannot fight.
You got to respect the feathers as well. Teddy has a lot of them on the ground, and that is going to be Raptor pushed away. They might even look for a fight, as now Teddy is the one tasked with taking down the dragon. They do manage to secure it as Kellin runs his way out of there. Now Casting looking for this angle, but he doesn't find the shock blast. And BNK FEARX do get everyone out of here, and Clear is now on this turret.
Yeah, Clear TPing top lane basically guaranteed a situation where HANJIN BRION are going to be able to scale a dragon, but it's just the first dragon. It's a Hextech dragon, which means no Hextech soul. And in return, Taeyoon has this... Oh my lord!
That's some big damage. Taeyoon doesn't have his ultimate.
Did have barrier, did Teddy, so did have that to keep him safe, but it did not look very safe. Now Clear looking for Casting.
Hextech ultimatum comes down yet again. Raptor is here, and so that means Casting is well and truly gone.
A better setup play this time. Clear healthy, has Raptor close by, and the power of the Camille. Oh, Namgung.
I don't know about this one. Namgung may just be dead here. And by may just be dead, I mean he's dead. Needed to ult a lot sooner than when he had half a health.
I've seen so many times in the LCK supports trying to stop the recalls and dying for it. It's a delicate line to tread, and now Teddy, I don't think they're going to go for a dive on him. Taeyoon wanted to recall anyway, but also Teddy has all sums and all, but some big kills for BNK FEARX. This one just set up well, and this is kind of the pain point of the Jayce. You may be winning lane, you may be ahead in gold, but as soon as it gets to later stages of the game, you're just going to get picked off quite easily if you're out of position. And here...
Oh, he was already holding the wave. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, well, Namgung just trying to do too many things at once there, and made to look a little bit silly as the dust settles. That is okay. VicLa is now a proud owner of a Rakan. We had a few people umming and ahhing about whether this was the right call when you are solo AP on your team.
Yeah, I think it's Abyssal Mask is good when you have other APs, and then Kenic Rakan is fine when you don't have the other APs, which is the case here.
Yep.
The other option is the...
Hollowed Radiance.
Yeah, it's kind of fallen out of favor, though. That item is not...
I think Chovy built it earlier in the week, and we were like, is this now the thing? But apparently not.
It does help with wave clear, but Galio honestly doesn't need that much help with wave clear.
Yeah. Oh, Clear going to try and find an angle, and by that I mean get out of there. Raptor is now kind of caught out. True Shot Barrage, once again, massive value over 3 people.
And you don't need a force here. You know, you've got 4 members off Bro stuck on the bot side. You can just get some damage down onto this mid turret, pick up some plates, and you also have access to these camps on the top side, to Herald. I think BNK FEARX making the right decision here in fights they don't need to go for. You got to remember, Bro had that 80 lead last game, overplayed their hands and got punished, and here BNK FEARX have been a lot more restrained.
Yeah, well, GIDEON going to be starting off on his red buff first, and I don't know whether they're going to be able to do too much if BNK FEARX do decide to start off this Herald. Kellin just going to take Shelly for a walk. She decides she gets sleepy and will go back to her little home there. But this is going to give the Bros a little bit of time to clear through GIDEON's jungle and get over towards some sort of setup for a Herald fight and contest. 5-1 though is the kill score. It's a 3,000 gold lead for BNK FEARX. This is not a great game state for the Bros.
Definitely is not. And I'm a bit concerned if the contest is Herald, what the ensuing fight might look like. Especially, it's so hard to connect. Normally, we have an Orianna in the game where, like, well, a big shockwave can solve everything, but very hard to catch a lot of the members of BNK FEARX with a shockwave. Everyone is so mobile.
Yeah.
And even the Galio, who's pretty mobile, is just kind of too bulky for it to matter that much if you connect on him. Now, Casting seems to be in a lot of trouble here.
I would agree with you. He does have a teleport coming in from his Orianna, and so Roamer is going to stop any sort of aggression. Does put the Orianna in a defensive position around this Herald as well.
Oh, look at this flank angle.
Yeah, looking to move in. There's the flash out from GIDEON. They get a nice knock up onto Clear. Hextech ultimatum comes down though. Can the subjugate work? The answer is absolutely not. As great flashing it out of to the skies, but it is going to now be the resets flying forward from Raptor. He is going to go down to the turret though. That's a kill going over to casting. As now VicLa is under the turret, and that is precisely where he doesn't want to be. Shock Blast connects onto Kellin, and the bottom lane's still alive, but there's 3 up for the bros.
I'm left wondering, is having a gold lead a bad thing in this series? BNK FEARX.
Yeah, you got a target on your head, Aux. You can't have that. You cannot have that. I agree with you.
Following the route of Bro last game and just overplaying that hand a little bit, they try and find this angle in, the Galio comes through, GIDEON gets kind of decimated. But stepping forward here onto Teddy, just a bit too far, and don't have a read on the barrier. Makes this play take a bit too long. Raptors on the tower getting chunked out. Namgung gets a nice headbutt onto VicLa on the tower, and it just feels like BNK FEARX forces engage and just step up way too much, aggressing onto Teddy on the tower, and it cost them so much. And now they're going to be a little late to this play. If they even contest this Dragon at all, looks like they're not going to go for it. They're going to go for the mid tower instead.
Yeah, it might be a Herald and mid type scenario here, as Teddy is going to be able to clear out this minion wave. Dragon does go over, and now the bros are going to be pushing in here towards his bottom side. Not really too worried about this Rift Herald, as VicLa going to be flashing out of the way. There's the headbutt, there's the pulverize, holding VicLa in place, and casting going to come on over and help grab this kill, picks it up for himself. And the bros, they are on the verge of evening out this gold lead, as Clear does take down a turret on the top side, and Taeyoon and Kellin doing the same thing here in mid. So it's not all good news for the bros, but probably feeling better, you know, in their heart of hearts.
I mean, the fight was good, but they were about 3k gold down before that last fight, and they're not that far away from that now, because even though they got that bot lane play, they managed to get the kill and the tower. BNK FEARX answered 2 lanes. Now they are looking for this bot lane tower, and they should actually get this, thanks to GIDEON and casting just both being so good at killing towers.
I was going to say, this is Jayce and Trundle, probably 2 of the better turret-killing champions in the game.
I think the gold graph is just like bounced back and forth.
Yeah, between a tiny amount and an even smaller amount on both sides, is what it feels like. No real big leads to be picked up so far, as GIDEON comes on through, hoovering up some of these wards.
It is now an Ocean Soul, which is pretty high roll for BNK FEARX, and it is one of the weakest souls. I mean, you're not as concerned, especially when you think of how explosive some of these fights will be.
Yep. They need a fair bit of heal deny, though, I think. With Ocean Soul and a Trundle, Subjugate comes down. I mean, even an Alistar, right? You get the Unbreakable Will, you'll have a lot of your health bar back by the time that one wears off. It's now Raptor looking for an angle, does get on in there, and I believe steals away the Gromp, which was a cute little play. He's still 2,000 gold ahead, as the Rift Herald is not going to be able to get a charge onto this turret. They have to use that one on the next one.
Yeah, oh, but it's a Trundle, so GIDEON can just pillar it to block it. I think it's the game plan.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
this could be so cute!
That was crazy!
Yeah, looks for Teddy, no pillars over here, and is going to be able to get that value.
I think that's just the most insane Herald driving we've actually seen, to dodge away from the tower on purpose so GIDEON can't block you, and then drive it into mid.
I really hope that it wasn't even planned. I hope he was like, oh, dang, I missed it. What can I do now? Quickly!
I mean, that is exactly what you can do, but we've seen so many players just like fumble the Herald driving.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then just like do the turn, like, I'm frightened, and then just turn around and crash her into a wall, and then she's useless.
That could have backfired as well. If he clipped the wall there, would have just been trapped behind the enemy tower with 3 enemies around him. So, play with some crazy maneuvers.
Yep. Well, Teddy, we were talking about that 3 item for the Xayah. He is getting closer and closer. Crit Cloak now in hand. Does need Pickaxe, BF Sword, but then the Infinity Edge will be very, very close. And maybe the Fountain Laser can find a way into this late game. The Orianna also in pretty good standing right now, building towards either a Rabadon's Death Cap or just a Zhonya's, depending on, I think, the state of his arm guard after the next fight or 2.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate just going for the Zhonya's. since inevitably you are going to use the arm guard, and being miles away from the Zhonyas is not going to feel so good, specifically into this comp.
Yeah.
This is a sort of comp where they're pretty good at forcing fights, and you don't want to be without your stasis in even one of them.
Well, he should have it for at least the next one. That is something. And now, Teddy going to go back home. Oh, is there a BF sword? No, there's a couple of long swords. I don't know what that means. Looks like he is going to be going for some armor penetration before we get towards the Infinity Edge, which is understandable into some of the more tankiness, but maybe not. I mean, it's only really VicLa, and he likes magic resist, generally. So it could have been an Infinity Edge third game.
There's a lot of plated seal caps on the enemy team, and obviously just armor skills quite quickly, so yeah. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, we're getting to the higher levels here in this game, so it does make some sense. Okay, this one's slowed down, though, and I feel like it's hitting more of a bro tempo rather than that of the BNK FEARX. As now, Raptor going to get exhausted, but Namgung not really finding very much with that little play. It was cute, not too much more going to come of it. As the bros, 16 seconds, and they have another chance at a soul point here in this game.
Clear pushes in that bot wave, kind of forcing Bro to respond to it, and it allows BNK FEARX to make their way forward and to just cut a lot of vision out here.
Never pulverized. Kellin might be overextended here, but he does have the grand entrance. That is going to push him away. Shock Blast does connect, and Raptor, in the meantime, just takes some wolves away.
He's just a level of control that BNK FEARX has here, and the fact that they can just engage on a whim makes it so hard to approach for Bro. Now, they are trying to move in here.
Yeah, GIDEON running over. Namgung as well. Unbreakable Will in hand. There is a Featherstorm up here for Teddy, and there is that Zhonya's you were talking about. Roma not going to be wasting any time. Trying to avoid some of these abilities. Doing a great job here is GIDEON. And Namgung, you don't want to be losing that kind of health. As Clear just putting on that pressure. VicLa doing the same thing. And the bros, I think they're going to hard commit to this dragon, but what are they going to lose in response? That's the question.
Pressure is really now on Bro to get this dragon going because they're losing out in the side lanes. TP now coming in. Yeah. They're going for it as well. He's on a great flank.
It's not going to be the steal. It's actually the recall that is going to lock down the dragon, but now Clear is on that flank angle. Roma is trying to get out of here, and he does go golden. Puts that Zhonya's to use immediately, and now VicLa is in trouble. He'll go down, and Namgung actually with the ulti running keeps himself alive. Now Clear off to the side, going to win the 1v1, but the bros are doing pretty well as far as the rest of the battle here. 4 versus 3. Taeyoon taking matters into his own hands. The Featherstorm not going to quite work. The flash forward from Clear, and Teddy is still alive. The cow goes down, but now GIDEON takes a bite out of Taeyoon, and Roma just flashing forward. The bros are looking for the ace, and Clear, he'll deny that, but I don't know whether he can deny the Baron.
Teddy even maintains his flash after all of that. They're just not able to find that engage, not able to connect onto the right targets, and ultimately the fight is just a bit too split for BNK FEARX. HANJIN BRION are not going to commit to the Baron. The fight took a long time, but they got what they wanted out of this. We see the double TPs come in, but we kind of have this warding from casting to keep the Camille away, kind of blocks Clear from entering the fight, and then when VicLa goes in, the team just turns on him. Yeah. Kellin's too low to really do anything. Clear does solo kill casting, which is great, but just now also too low to really jump into all these members. And this whole time, GIDEON is just charging forward, chomping anyone he can find, while Teddy's doing a great job of staying alive. This hook shot flash a little off from Clear, doesn't connect on a Teddy there.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate, but I have to say so much of this began with VicLa going for a flash taunt and hitting only an Alistar. And he just doesn't care. Like, Namgung just presses ult, and he is absolutely fine. But the Zhonya's buy from Roma really making sure that that big play from the Galio, and it could have been a big play, like he was on a good flank angle. The bros were like trying to get out. They were clumped up. But in the end, it didn't actually work out for them. So the gold lead going to have a little bit of a chunk taken out of it once again. The bros, one more time. 3 dragons to nothing. I don't know whether it means anything though, Daniel. It is, yeah. This happened last time.
We had the maximum amount of elemental dragons last game without having a soul.
Can we do it again?
I mean, we'll have to see. I feel like with it being an Ocean Soul, there's less of a priority on securing it, but it still does have value in these longer fights. But I think BNK FEARX, next time they approach this, they just need to get ideally onto Casting, who's the easiest target. You know, Teddy has his ult, Roma has his Zhonya's, but Casting's pretty vulnerable. Just explode an initial target and then push forward on the back of that.
Well, Teddy getting closer and closer to level 16. Mortal Reminder is now completed, keeping up with Taeyoon as far as items.
You have the double GA for the Naafiri and the Camille, which makes it a lot easier just to dive in recklessly.
Yeah, not to mention Clear is really far ahead. Raptor does have the ability to go untargetable, so he wasn't under any actual threat there. Taeyoon dealing with these feathers quite nicely, just keeping the pressure up here in the mid lane. Trophy Cannon done here for Roma. And now Namgung is popping the ghost, looking for an angle. Headbutt onto Kellin. Unbreakable Will has to be used, and Namgung is just going to sheepishly walk away, or cowishly walk away.
Yeah, Kellin did the ult to interrupt the combo there, so when he dashes in, he gets charmed.
Oh,
but I think maybe he could have actually just gone in on Namgung there afterwards. He was so low, even with the ult, was a vulnerable target.
Remember, vulnerabilities, you can see Taeyoon really wants to find it, but he gets a chomp out of him. The dragon comes, the turret gets angry with him as well, as VicLa has to use the ult to save his AD carry. Getting a bit antsy, I think, is Taeyoon here in this fight. And now VicLa trying to Justice Punch his way out, but he is going to pay for the sins of his AD carry. And BNK FEARX, I think, just lulled into a false sense of security. And tried to push the play.
This consistent theme from our Ezreals in the LCK, where they just try and step up way too far in the mid lane and get punished for it. VicLa dies for the sins, a Galio who can go in but can't get out very easily. And we're not going to see the Baron started. It is Terry, so not the Huni Baron, not the really scary one, but they still not want to be trapped in that pit here. And Taeyoon goes for the plate, gets pillared, and just so far up here. The peel has to come through to keep him alive. And then VicLa just gets chased down here. I think he should have moved to the left and rejoin the rest of his team, because once the Trundle gets ahead of him, he's just doomed.
Yeah, nothing he could do about it. They get in front, and they manage to take them down. I love just how excited that guy was, and then he was straight back to business, because he knew this one is not over yet. 7 seconds on the dragon, and VicLa's back in here. Taeyoon once again going to get completely trapped. That pillar was perfect from GIDEON, and Teddy executes him. Taeyoon, that's twice in a row, buddy. You can't be doing this.
Last time VicLa died for his sins, but this time there's no VicLa around to sacrifice himself. That was just a massive misplay from Taeyoon. Flash wasn't available, and GIDEON super sharp with the pillar.
Yeah, I think the church was closed for the night. Couldn't get into the confession box this time around. And Father was like, no, I am sorry, I will not forgive you this time. And Taeyoon does go down.
He shouldn't for that performance.
No, I don't think so either. I think if he had been in there, he'd be like, no, it's a bridge too far, my friend, I'm sorry.
Now they have to try and contest this Baron. Taeyoon's not up for 10 seconds.
They will not have a lot of their DPS, but Raptor is very strong. The problem is, there's a cow. And cow beats doggo. In this case, I am afraid. Able to headbutt Raptor away. Can on target ability, can use that, but then the pulverize will be there, the trample will be there. Too much to deal with. And there is the Baron, there is the Soul, and the Bros finally have themselves a gold advantage.
That pillar placement.
Look at that, you know, this is in a campfire.
This is something that I've said for a long while. Trundle is a champion who on surface level seems very simple, but the pillar placement, the things you can do with this ability, cutting people off, you can even get some airtime if the position's right, interrupting dashes. Really a champion that there's such a limit, there's such a high limit for what you can do with mastery of it, and GIDEON is demonstrating that here.
Beautifully, beautifully played here by the Trundle. Maybe now we're getting a bit of an idea as to why he prioritized it, even if the matchup was going to be somewhat difficult. And as this game goes on, the value of the subjugate just goes through the roof, right? Over and over again, it just gets more and more valuable as everyone else gets so tanky. And so now Raptor will get discovered here by this Trundle. Oh, like ships in the night. They sort of pass each other by. As now Clear is going to realize that, hang on, this is not really what he wants to be doing.
Oh, getting caught out when he got
to connect. Yeah, interrupted.
Nice so good!
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Like, GIDEON, I think, was already going to get POM. He didn't need to do much more. But it's definitely going to get confirmed here if the Bros are actually able to win this series.
Yeah, the game plan for Clear there was if he makes it to the fountain and he dies to the fountain, he doesn't res from the GA, so he keeps it.
That would have been actually pretty cute.
But the interrupt from GIDEON is so good, it just means that wasn't even a prospect.
Yeah, not actually able to get there. Had a bit of ground to travel. But the Bros now with their Baron and now without Clear there, causing that disruption. There's even an outer turret in top lane. Like, my God, the amount of standing gold on this map for the Bros to take is kind of absurd. True Shot Barrage again with a lot of value here from Taeyoon. Overeyes onto Kellin.
This composition from BNK FEARX is so good at catching isolated targets, but just Pro have refused to be isolated at any point. They are really sticking together on this one.
Yeah.
And BNK FEARX are looking for windows, just unable to find them again and again.
It's the power of friendship. It's also a phenomenal disengage comp, right? Like, that's what the Bros kind of built this for. I didn't really like it. I feel like the Xayah disengage has been a lot more finesse than a lot of our teams have been able to use in the very high tempo meta that we're in at the moment. But if there's anyone that can slow down a game, it's HANJIN BRION. Like, let's be honest. They are the kings of slow-mo. And right now, they are using it to their advantage, moving the needle towards themselves with a 2,000 gold advantage. And yes, VicLa now completes his third item, but there is a Jayce on Roma, just quietly. He's 4-0-6 and has 4 items, technically. Has the extra movement speed from the Jayce as well, which feels fantastic.
Okay, Taeyoon.
Please stop.
Don't arcane shift forward into the enemy team.
I thought it was going to happen. I was a little bit frightened there.
I think what's crazy is that we have this composition from BNK FEARX with such a layered engage, and it's been a long time since you've seen them really pull it off.
Yeah.
Just unable to find their way in, unable to find the angles.
Well, Taeyoon has an endless hunger now, so as far as thematically correct items for the playstyle, I like this one.
GA now for casting, still have Teddy, obviously has that ult. Zhonya's for Roma, means there's just no easy targets anymore on the side of HANJIN BRION.
Teddy's moving in, VicLa prepared to be that front line as Raptor has moved over here as well. A minute and a half on the Elder. That is what BNK FEARX are making sure they have vision of. GIDEON now moving out of his base. Does need to be a bit careful. Remember, he was caught over this side of the map last time. Clear with some vision available. But that's a Serpent's Fang done here for Raptor. And GIDEON actually just going to clear out this bottom wave. Just making sure that they have as much control as they possibly can find. It's not often that you do see Solo Lane is dropping waves to the jungler just to make sure they have a modicum of control. But 1 minute left, and that is when a potential Exodia exists on the Rift here for the Bros.
Yeah, so notably, if you look at the vision, there's quite a lot of overlap between BNK FEARX and Bro. There's these 2 wards. You see that wall next to the river? There's those 2 blue wards from BNK FEARX, which provide potential flank angles for BNK FEARX on the back of the TP.
Yep.
Players actually waiting in base, ready. So I imagine one of those will be the option, and they're going to just try and go for the flank, make it work, despite all those tools from Bro that make it difficult. Sterak's actually picked up there for Clear. He's going to leave the base for now, not actually going to TP from base.
One thing I do want to draw your attention to, though, is Teddy's on 5 items. Look at his CS numbers. He's almost 100 ahead of the clock.
Yeah.
Like, this Xayah has just been hoovering up the minions.
Yeah, such a good buy here as well.
Yeah, going to be very valuable. As BNK FEARX going to get pushed away. Xayah is no slouch in the late game as well. That extra safety of the Featherstorm. And if they are in auto range of Teddy, he will just slice them apart. GIDEON now moving on in, and now just feeling tanky, right? Like, this is the problem with
Oh, they found Clear!
Yeah, Clear actually going to get caught out. It's the flash forward, the shockwave, and they're just holding him at bay. True Shot Barrage sails by gloriously. There is a re-engage on the other side of the fight as Teddy gets the big shield. They haven't been able to get through even that, and he's flashed forward! The Bros have hit critical mass, and BNK can do nothing about it! To the skies goes casting, and Raptor is the last man standing just to watch as his massive early game lead means nothing.
Clear gets shut down and the engage never really comes through. They try and get on Teddy, but he's having none of it. Bro will answer back after game one, and it really feels like that early lead, both games, has just been a bit fake.
That was absolutely massive from the Bros. And after such an indecisive game one, they were just rock solid in this game number two. An incredible bounce back.
Absolutely, and this is a scary comp to play into. I think you misstep, you're out of position.